There's nothing like a short-lived 2000s adult cartoon, the Poketowns and Nutshacks of the world. With the continued pop culture dominance of The Simpsons and newcomers tapping into new demographics, every cartoonist wanted to prove that they could make a show that wasn't for kids. A lot of them ended up making shows that weren't for adults either. It's funny to think how many adult animated series in the 2000s only lasted a season or two. Not everyone could make it to the coveted 5th season. Looking back, it's easy to see why so many of these shows failed to gain an audience, but it's weird how some of them could even limp into production in the first place. Case in point, the obscure retro oddity I wanted to dive into this July, Free For All. Another one for the pile of edgy dysfunctional families. There isn't much to say about this 7-episode cartoon's contents, and there's even less to say about its history. I'll manage somehow. There's a reason I chose this of all its brethren to reflect on that'll be clear soon. I hope there's some surprises, because this is an inconspicuous place to discuss art and artists. Free For All was the creation of Randall Brett Merhar, a cartoonist who originally made it into a comic strip that premiered on April 27th, 1998. It was noted for pushing good taste and tactful social commentary, but wasn't successful enough to last more than a year. What little success it achieved was good enough for Brett, and he remained proud of his accomplishments, so proud that he soon thought of adapting the strip for TV. And who should he ask for assistance from than his good friend, Meriwether Williams? Yep, the Angry Beavers Meriwether Williams, the Camp Lazlo, Adventure Time, and My Little Pony Friendship is Magic Meriwether Williams, the lead writer for the first 3 seasons of SpongeBob Meriwether Williams. She developed an adult cartoon for Showtime, only the second fully-fledged animated series they've ever shown, between Mike Reese's Queer Duck and Something About a Living Cheeto. Is this really the best you have, Showtime? It aired its short 7-episode order from July 11th to September 12th, 2003, and faded into obscurity by the end of the year. Undaunted, Brett Merhar created another animated series in 2008, Beverly Hills Anger Management, but that's not what you're here to hear about today. No, we've got 3 crystal clear hours of the early 2000s to revisit. Hopefully they can make you laugh at least once.
Don't you dare put a spin on this. Get the fuck out of here.
Not a problem, you psychopath. You'll never see me again.
Call you tomorrow.
Okay.
The show centers around 19-year-old Johnny Jenkins and his wide range of family and friends, a broken household, a millionaire best friend, and an unrequited crush on the girl next door. There isn't much about the main cast you can't learn from the intro, a loose parody of the game of life. So here are some beefier summaries. Johnny's a sensitive weakling who doesn't always know the best course of action to take in this MA-rated world. There's something unique to him in that he's not quite as crass as the others. His best friend is the anime protagonist Clay Zeman, who's living the dream after winning a lawsuit. Not an especially lovable person all the time though, and his lifestyle's kinda dirty. He has a pet ferret named Angus, who was experimented on and is now a drug addict. He's cute, but mostly the recipient of forced drama and drug jokes. Paul is the nice girl next door who's got a few issues. She can't read Johnny's affection for her, and is being too loved by her college teachers. Not much to work with, but she probably could have gotten better if the show had gone on longer. Douglas is Johnny's deadbeat father who can't hold down a job. Again, you can't help but wish these issues were given the time to be taken more seriously. Oddly, I think Johnny's grandmother, Sylvia, is the most developed character. She's mostly there to gross the audience out just by being an old lady whose libido's only increased with age, but I think they put some effort into exploring her desires. The only other major character is Omar, Johnny's friend from school who's just there to be a friend when Clay isn't around. Free For All has a weak, generic cast, but they're dependable for the sorts of stories the writers wanted to tell.
Hey, Grandma, maybe these will help.
What the hell are those? Vitamins?
No, they're magic beans.
You dunce! How much were they?
$49.
Think of a sitcom plot and add boobs and substance abuse. They're very explicit about how degenerate the world can be, with all the swearing and nudity completely uncensored on online copies. It's indecent, but an animated nipple isn't gonna poke your eye out. I'll give them some props for remembering to have a heart. Johnny does care about his family and friends, and even more impersonal characters like Clay and Sylvia open their hearts from time to time. Don't expect the most sensitive show ever. This is from a time when networks let adult cartoons push the envelope further than they could reasonably go. They use the R and N words in the pilot with no guilt, and they aren't very kind to the LGBTQ+ community. There's an episode where Douglas enters a gay bar and bumps into what's implied to be a trans woman, and while it's nice that they get along and talk about their parents, that's where the sensitivity ends. It's not about making some big political or cultural statement, it's just about grabbing low-hanging fruit. But that makes its rare moments of brilliance stick out more. Here's my favorite joke of the series.
You're free to go too. In fact, you were supposed to leave 2 days ago. Stealing cable is only a 2-day stint. We owe you a 2-day crime.
I don't want to go. You guys got the sports package. I'll miss all the games. How much would arguing with the guard get me?
An extra couple of days.
No, it won't.
Yes, it will.
No, it won't.
That's it, back you go.
Thanks.
I will note that thanks. Shave some time off your sentence.
Damn it.
As you can tell, the animation leaves a lot on the table. There is some ambitious CGI used for establishing shots, but the rest of the animation is pretty stiff and rigid. Expressive, yes, especially Johnny's shirt, but it feels like the comic strip in ways you wouldn't want to notice for a fully fledged series. Designs need to be simpler for an animation pipeline. I will say it gets better over time. The pilot is a glorified animatic, while later episodes gradually got more experimental with trippy fantasies and whatnot. Still, it's hard to believe Meriwether Williams roped other SpongeBob crew members like C.H. Greenblatt and William Reese into this. Not to mention, D. Bradley Baker provides the noises for Angus. Same voice actor. Surprise, surprise, they only made it to 7 episodes, but how would I rank them from worst to best? It's a short enough series for me to review the whole thing in less than 2 minutes. I'd say Sterile Angus was the worst, because the extent to the jokes and stories is sex. The Deal is the first episode they produced, and it didn't do the best job of making the characters likable or the humor appealing, and the animation, as I said before, is at its low point here. Tall Tales had a decent B-plot with Johnny and Omar starting a fraternity on a nuclear testing site, but the main story with the Tall People's Bar was very lacking, and their attempt at a finale cliffhanger backfired tremendously. Hostage Johnny is the one where Johnny's class is held hostage and Clay doesn't really care. Not the peak of comedy, but I did like the B-plot where Sylvia gets protective against Douglas's new girlfriend. She has an old veiny heart that's still pumping. Tootsie is about Johnny dog-sitting for Paula. Things go wrong in the most predictable ways. I do appreciate the effort into giving Angus envy though, makes him less of a joke character. New Johnny has him accidentally become a model for Paula's art class, and Douglas and Sylvia date each other online while Douglas is in jail. Undoubtedly the most awkward stories in the show, with tons of cringe comedy to go around. My favorite episode would probably be Scammer Clay, where he gets Johnny, Douglas, and Omar wrapped up in the business of selling rocks. It's easily the most consistently funny, and the plotting feels genuinely clever in places. It's alright, but I'd still only recommend Free For All as a curiosity. I would wish Brett Merhar all the best and no hard feelings for ragging on his 20-year-old show, but he's no longer with us. On July 27th, 2016, he got into an altercation in a car park and was struck on the head with a metal pipe. He died shortly after. He was only 46. I find it ironic that he voiced Clay on the show, a lucky big shot with unlimited money and free time, because that's not the life Brett Merhar lived. His productions barely achieved 15 minutes of fame, but he seemed very proud of his accomplishments, and I think that's a respectable attitude to have in the animation industry. I don't want to be a judge of character for someone I know almost nothing about and is no longer alive, but Free For All strikes me as a weirdly humble show. Not in its content, God no, but it's a show that's happy to be alive, present its characters, tell its jokes, show a dingy, perverted working-class America in a heightened reality. I hope all the crew members had no regrets about what they'd leave behind. Sorry to end on a somber note, but so does the show. Goodbye for now, and I swear this review will be continued.
I got my piss cup! I got my piss cup! Whippy!